Good morning, Teaserking family. How was everybody today? Had a pretty good day yesterday. I love when I hit like Princeton and bet against Purdue and games like that. Really shows how well the system works. There is chat, so if you want to chat, I haven't seen chat in the last few days. Bobby hasn't been on, but please feel welcome to chat. If there's a problem with it, please go to my Teaserking, www.teaserking.com, and email me saying, I'm trying to chat, but I can't. Usually I get chats, questions, and comments and stuff like that. All right, so let's go college basketball. And I don't even know what's in the tournament. They're putting the NIT at the same time as this, which makes who's going to watch that? So, okay. I guess the first game's Pitt and Xavier. And let's put that in. Xavier there. All right, the spread we got, Xavier minus 4.5. Over under of 147. Let's take a look at the game. We got Pitt 75-69. That's offense, defense. Xavier 81-73. Xavier is an over team. Pitt's pretty much an over team. 147. We're going to go over the 147 in this game. Two over teams, pretty much. Not a lot of defense. The problem is, do we know Xavier well enough to lay 4.5? Oh, they're going to win. I don't think we can. And what looks like a high-scoring game. So this is the 12 o'clock game. So you got a half hour to get this one in. All right. And we got to find, all right, Kansas State, Kentucky. Now, we actually have Kentucky, the 6th seed. Kansas State's the 3 team. And Kentucky's a 2.5-point favorite with a 142 over-under. Yeah, and you're betting the name. Is Kentucky really that good? If they are, why are they the 6th seed? Kentucky scores 74, gives up 67. Kansas State 5 gives up 68. This is a dead even game. I'm going to take Kansas State here. Well, let's see. Do I want the over or the under? 142. I don't know. So many of these games have been low scoring. You'll look at the games like 38-28, and it's in the second half. You're like, Jesus. Then they end up in the 60s, 70s. So this should be. I'm going to take Kansas State here. Or do I want? Well, I don't even know which way to go. Over. Okay, let's go over. I don't trust Kansas State enough that they're going to win, and I don't know who Kentucky is, so I'm going to play it that way. Marquette, Michigan State. Marquette's minus 2.5, 138. Look at the matchup. Michigan State 70-67. Marquette 79-70. Marquette's much the better team. I'm going to take Marquette here. And I'm going to play it for 5 units. 5-star. Really liked it. Yesterday, the 5-star won. Kansas State, Montana. Oh, no, wait. No, the 5-star won Tennessee under yesterday. 125 with Duke. They beat Duke handily. That was my 5-star. The other 5-star was Houston under 132, which all of a sudden Houston turned on the offense, and now they look like Houston again. So I don't know if there was an injury and the guy came back or what, but we like Houston there. So now we're back to Houston and Texas. Texas is a push. They laid 5 and tied, but it wasn't a 5-star. And I love Arkansas. I had that game under over Kansas, and they came through, so it was pretty good. So our first 5-star of the day is we're going to take Marquette, only over 2.5 over Michigan State, who really sucks this year. All right, Connecticut and St. Mary's. So St. Mary's put it on that UConn minus 3.5, 126. So St. Mary's really killed Virginia Commonwealth. That was the 5-12, which is a good win. We got St. Mary's 71-59. We got Connecticut 78-64. Both really good teams. St. Mary with a good defense. I got to bet defense here. I'm going to take St. Mary's plus the 3.5. Just a strong defense. Do I bet it under 126 is a low number? It's probably going to be an under 2. Connecticut 78 doesn't show me anything. Yeah, probably an under game also. You got to respect the defense. The defense makes it extremely hard. Here's Baylor and Creighton. And if I'm looking at this correctly, and I think I am, I'm in shock of this point spread. Baylor, Creighton. Creighton's a 6 seed, Baylor's a 3, and Creighton's is minus 1.5 and a 143. I'm going to take Baylor 5-star. I mean, you got to be – that's ridiculous. Baylor blew out a good UC Santa Barbara. Let's look at the numbers just so we can verify everything. Baylor 76-68. Baylor 77-69. Creighton 76-68. It's dead even. Take the dog. In this case, it's only a 1.5. Baylor is the dog. Probably an over 143 also, but we'll just take Baylor. UCF, no. So you got to look. What is UCF Oregon doing? In the middle of all this, you got NIT. I don't even know why there isn't NIT anymore. Fairleigh Dickinson, Florida Atlantic. And we have Florida Atlantic minus 15 and a 145. This spread's way off by a mile. Florida Atlantic 78-64, Fairleigh Dickinson 77-64. Didn't stop them against Purdue, but Purdue, from what I hear, they stacked the box against Purdue, didn't let their big 7-foot guy score, and Purdue wouldn't take a 3-point shot for some reason. Florida Atlantic beat Memphis by 1, probably a fluke. I love Florida, Fairleigh Dickinson and the guys from Animal House. You beat Purdue. All right. Florida Atlantic is a 9 seed. You beat Purdue. Okay, what is everybody missing here? And you're getting 15 points, and you beat Purdue. All right. I'm taking the Fairleigh Dickinsons again. And then another 5-star. It doesn't take me long to load up on 5-stars. Once I see a few games and get my feet wet. Indiana, Miami, I think that's also on here. Yeah, I'm battling between is Is it an NIT or an NCAA? No, here's Indiana. They beat a good Drake team. And they're going to play Miami of Florida. Oh, man, I did it again. Miami, Indy. We got Indiana minus 1.5 and 145. This is going to have to be an over-under situation. Let's see exactly what we got. We've got Miami 78-71, Indiana 74-68. They're both sevens. They're both like a 7 differential. Indiana with the better defense. I'm going to take Indiana with the better. Well, let's see. Pretty high scoring. Let's go over in the game. Neither team's got a great defense. Both about 70. Both teams score in the upper 70s. Could be a high-scoring game. Although if you notice, as the weak teams get out, there's a lot more unders, except for the Houston game yesterday. Colorado, Utah Valley, probably not in this tournament. And then Gonzaga and TCU. TCU. Gone minus 4.5, 153, expecting a high-scoring game. Yeah, my sheet's so fucked up because I put in all the numbers. I can barely see what I was doing. All right, TCU 75-67, Gonzaga 87-72. They didn't get to the 87 against the Grand Canyon, and they didn't get my over for me. Let's see today. TCU gives up 68, 72. It should be high scoring, but it's 153, and I'm not going to fuck with 153 here. TCU's got injuries. Gonzaga. I can't. I'm gonna pass on this game. I don't know. I just don't see Gonzaga. Well, all right. Let's take Gonzaga. You twisted my arm. Don't love it. Just a 1-star, and don't play it. So we will see. But that's it. So Gonzaga. So let's go through today's actions. Again, we got a game in 15 minutes. So we've got who's our early game? What is it? Let's go through that's the only one that's really time sensitive. So if we go through today, all right, Xavier Pitt, we took the over in the game. Xavier 4.5, 147.5. We went over with Xavier. That's on at 12:10. It's not yet 12 o'clock, so you got 15 minutes if you're interested in making that bet. Let's go through the rest of them then. So Baylor Creighton. Creighton's a 1.5 point favorite, 143. I like Baylor, 5-star. They beat a good UC Santa Barbara, pretty bad, and they're better than Creighton. So I like Baylor as the dog in this game. Fairleigh Dickinson against Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic laying 15.5, 145. I've never seen anything like it. How can a 9 seed possibly be favored by 15 points over anybody? I can get the 1 seed, Kansas, Alabama. Yeah, okay. Houston. Florida Atlantic laying 15.5. No fucking way. And then 145. I like Fairleigh Dickinson in the 15.5, 5-star. They beat Purdue. They're going to have confidence. They got momentum. They go, we just beat the 1 seed. Now, people think this is a weak bracket. I think this is the strongest bracket. Listening to the chuckleheads on the radio, They're saying how weak this bracket, and Michigan State's going to go and win it. Look how weak it is. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So they discount Fairleigh Dickinson beating Purdue like, oh, well, that was a one-timer. Then they discount, Duke, who loses to Tennessee, which we had yesterday. I was proud of that one. Tennessee just killed Duke. They just killed Oral Roberts, who a lot of people said was a good team. Then they beat Duke, but all of a sudden Tennessee's not a good team. Well, they don't have the offense. Well, they had the offense yesterday. They killed them. So how is Tennessee not a good team? I fail to understand that. You got Kentucky Providence. You got Kentucky. How are they not a good team? Kansas State and Montana State. Here's Kansas State. So you got Kentucky, Kansas State. Both these teams are better than Michigan State. And then you got Michigan State, Marquette. There's no way they're going to beat Marquette. Marquette's going to kill them. So the guy, Michigan State, this is the problem with radio. They talk what you want to hear. Oh, look how good Michigan State. Oh, we're in Michigan. We got to talk Michigan State. And you don't want that. You want honesty. You want the truth. You want to know what the fuck these guys are talking about. What are you talking about? You like that. This is look at the fact. Michigan State stinks this year. What were they, 5th, 6th in the Big Ten? A weak Big Ten. Purdue got their ass kicked by Fairleigh Dickinson. All right, so this is by far the toughest bracket. Good luck, Nick. I hope Marquette gets through. This is first step. So anyway, I took Fairleigh Dickinson in 15.5. The next game is Kentucky 2.5 over Kansas State. I like Kansas State, but I'm going to play the game over 142. And my over-unders were good early, but now the games are tightening up. The guys are choking more. I'm looking more for, not as many overs, but I think in this case, they're both pretty good scoring teams. I like the over here. So let's go over 142. I like Kansas State in the 2.5, but this is a game anybody can win, so I'm going to relax on it. I think if Kentucky does win, it'll be high scoring. So I'm going to go over 142 in this game. Very hard to pick the winner. Michigan State, Marquette 2.5, 138. Michigan State's more of a defensive rebounding team. Marquette's explosive. I love Marquette, -2.5, 5-star. Bet this one a lot bigger than the other ones I give you. Marquette, all they got to do is win by 2.5. That's a joke. State, no offense. Houston finally woke up yesterday for us. Scored 80 points on Auburn. I was shocked by that. I had under 132. So we lost on that, but that's okay. Miami and Indiana. Indiana's 1.5, 145. I like the game over. Both teams are pretty explosive. Hard to pick at 1.5. Miami could win. Indy could win. Don't know them well enough. But looking at the teams, they score a lot and their defense isn't there. So these are teams without defenses, so we'll go over 145. Xavier Pitt, as I said, this is the noon game. Xavier 4.5, 147. I'm going to go over with the game. I don't know. Pitt killed Iowa State. I don't think Pitt's an 11 seed. Too many players, and Iowa State, is a 6 seed. So definitely an under, and it came in under. But Xavier beat, Kennesaw State doesn't really show much. Are they a 3 team? Well, I saw them get blown out by Marquette, so I'm not thrilled with Xavier right now. So I can't play the favorite. Pitt probably is a good play, but I like the game over. So go over 147 there. St. Mary's and UConn 3.5, 126. I like St. Mary's here getting the 3.5. I think this is an even game. I don't know how good either team is. St. Mary's beat Virginia Commonwealth big. and Connecticut beat an Iona. So it's 4 against 5. I'll take the dog in this game. Give me the 3.5 in St. Mary's. TCU, the 6 seed against Gonzaga, the 3 seed. Gonzaga 4.5, 153. I'm going to take Gonzaga here. TCU just has a lot of injuries from what I've been told. Gonzaga, they're in Denver, which is strange for a West. It's not really a West. But I like it minus the 4.5. I just think they're the better team here. And, probably a close game. And that's it for today. So let's kind of reflect. So yesterday, have Alabama over. And I don't think they get there. But it was a good win for Alabama. Had San Diego State under. It's a W. Have Princeton over Missouri getting the 6.5. Princeton wins again. So I got Princeton. This is the same theory I'm using with Fairleigh Dickinson. Princeton beats Arizona, and now you're going to give them 6.5 against Missouri. And what? They're going to be flat? No, they're not going to be flat. They got the momentum. They got the confidence. It's all about confidence. You beat the number 2 seed, they might end up playing Alabama next week. So I'll have Princeton. I love that one. Again, we didn't necessarily have Fairleigh Dickinson to beat Purdue. We actually had the game over. We did have Purdue losing and not winning in the bracket. So my bracket did not get busted by Purdue losing. And so today, Fairleigh Dickinson's very confident. They beat the number 1 seed. How scared are they going to be of the 9 seed Florida Atlantic? Good team, 31-3. They beat Memphis on the buzzer by 1. I would have been more afraid if Memphis was playing them than Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic laying 15.5 is an absolute joke. Way, way overvalued. Maybe a 7 or 8 points spread, and that would be high. That's like the Missouri game, right? I love Florida. I love Fairleigh Dickinson in 15. You cannot beat the 1 seed, and then you're going to collapse. Oh, we pulled our upset. Let's go home. Really? No, they know. And from what I was told, they buried Purdue. They had that game in control. Purdue couldn't even take shots, couldn't even take 3 points. They took away, I guess Purdue has a 7'4" guy. Apparently, Purdue got way outcoached in this game. Purdue doesn't play a zone, apparently. Well, I don't know what the hell that means. How do you not play a zone? And then Purdue with a 7'4" guy. Well, in basketball, that's pretty big. So they couldn't think of ways of pick and roll, like Bill Lambert and Isaiah Thomas. So anyway, there's no way Florida Atlantic's winning this game by double digits. I don't think they're going to win the game. I think Fairleigh wins the game if you're money lining it, but definitely 5-star. Take Fairleigh Dickinson and 15.5 points. That's a fucking joke in a tournament. Way, way bad spread. Duke, Tennessee, we had yesterday. We had Tennessee. Tennessee gets the win. Actually, we had it under with Tennessee's defense. And everybody, all you hear, Tennessee doesn't have an offense. Yeah, but they got a defense. Hello. So definitely Tennessee here. Kentucky and Kansas State. This is an even game. I'm kind of liking the points, but it's, Kansas State, Kentucky. Kansas plays Kansas, Texas. So they play big teams. This would be nothing for them. But I like the over 142 here as opposed to the 2.5. And then we get down to Michigan State, Marquette. Michigan State's the 7th seed, and they shouldn't even be that. How in God's name, this is a 2-point spread is absolutely ridiculous. They killed Xavier, okay? And Xavier is much better than Michigan State. Xavier is what? They're a 3 seed. Marquette killed them. I look for Marquette to win this game by 10. They'll get rolling, and they'll just the State doesn't have the offense or defense to stay in this game. Marquette's just too strong, so I really like Marquette 5-star on this one. Houston Auburn. Houston showed up big. They scored 80 points, and their defense was strong, gave up 60. I had under 132. I lost, but the concept was right. I thought Houston was not scoring and that Houston's defense would shut out Auburn, which they only gave up 60. I was just shocked that they probably got a lot of points off the defense. So they probably got a lot of steals and dunks, would be my guess, how Houston got to 80, because they couldn't do that against Northern Kentucky, for Christ's sake. So, like Houston, and now we got Miami and Indiana, and Houston will murder either of those teams. Now that Houston's found their stride, look for them to beat Miami or Indiana and advance against Texas in the final of the bracket. Miami, Indiana. Miami's a 5 seed. Who cares? Indiana's a 4. This game's dead even. I would like the points, but it's only 1.5. So I'm going to go over with 2 pretty good offensive teams and pretty weak defensive teams. So neither team really has a good defense. So we're going to go over in the game. So that's what you look for in the over-unders. I played Houston under because they give up 58 points a game. I mean, that's an under. That's Georgia football giving up 10 points a game. It's the same thing. Here, both defenses are in the, I think, 69, 70. And that's what we look for. You got 2 bad defenses, you're going to get a lot of points. So definitely like this game over 145. So Pitt beats Iowa State. Xavier beats Kennesaw State. Xavier laying 4.5. I don't know, the way Pitt looked, beating a good Iowa State team, I'm not going to go against them. Xavier, like I said, they got crushed by Marquette, so Xavier's not playing well. I'm going to leave the points alone, but I'm going to go over 147 again. 2 pretty strong offensive teams with not great defenses. So definitely like this game over. We hit Penn State, we hit Texas in yesterday's games. So now Penn State, we already got that. All right, Texas beats Penn State yesterday. We have it. It was a push, lane 5. Texas will kill whoever they play, Xavier Pitt. So it's going to be Texas-Houston in the finals, and I would probably take the dog in the game. But we'll see what the point spread is. Arkansas beating Kansas. We had the game under. It was a winner. Again, Arkansas with a tough defense. Kansas always overrated. They're like Purdue. These teams just are so overrated based on the name or the brand, as I call it. So everybody gets branded. All these teams, they don't understand they're a brand, but they are. And what was the spread? The spread was, I don't know what the spread was. All I show is the 143. Anyway, Arkansas gets the win, and it stayed under 143, and they move on to play the St. Mary's UConn winner, of which we like the game under, and we like St. Mary's, actually. I like the dog in the game. Very even game. 5 plays a 4. I'm going to take the points here. St. Mary's, good team. Connecticut, I don't know. So we'll take the dog. And then Arkansas, after beating Kansas, should beat whoever they get. So it looks like it'll be Arkansas against UCLA. In this bracket, we got TCU and Gonzaga. Winner gets UCLA. In Denver, TCU, I mean, I love the football team, but unless they got their football players on the team, they're in trouble. Some injuries. I've taken Gonzaga today. So if we look at the brackets, we got Alabama, San Diego State. Alabama, easy. We got Princeton against the Baylor, NC State, the Baylor Creighton winner. Now Baylor can beat Creighton, which they will, Maybe Baylor, Princeton. I think Baylor, Alabama would be a good finals. We'll see. I still think Alabama comes out of it. We've got Fairleigh Dickinson, Florida Atlantic. I'm going to take Fairleigh Dickinson to win against Tennessee, and then they're done. Then the defense takes over. Tennessee advances. And then we've got Kentucky, Kansas State, and Michigan State, Marquette. So it's going to be Marquette. I don't know if it's Kentucky or Kansas State. Either way, I think Marquette advances against Tennessee, and then it's take the dog probably. So I can see Tennessee coming out of this mess. Then we got Houston advancing against Texas. That'll be a great game. And then we've got Arkansas going to go against UCLA. So your Final Four looks like Alabama, Tennessee. I don't know now. Houston, Texas, one of them, and then UCLA. And again, you got to keep your eyes open for Arkansas. They just beat Kansas. See, you get the momentum, you win that game, it changes everything. It's like the catch for the Niners, right? The Niners in 81 never beat San Francisco, never beat Dallas in a playoff game. John Brodie lost in the 70, 71 season the first two times. And then here they come, and they kill them in the regular season. Montana lit them up, or 45-10 or something like that. So you get in a playoff, and they're pissed off after getting blown out. And Frisco hadn't won a Super Bowl, hadn't won a championship game. And boom, they beat Dallas to get to the Super Bowl. And here they go. Here comes Montana. They don't have anybody, right? Bill Ring's the running back. Dwight Clark's the receiver. Freddie Solomon. Their defense is a bunch of rookies. Ronnie Lott and Eric Wright. All these guys are rookies. And they get the W, right? They beat Dallas. They can easily beat Cincy. If you beat Dallas, you're going to beat Cincy. They're not going to be flat. So they beat Dallas. They beat Cincy. They win the Super Bowl. They got their win. They beat Dallas. So if Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue, they got the win. They got it's all mental. There's no way that Florida Atlantic players are any better than Fairleigh Dickinson players. You can say what you want, this rated, that rating, they shouldn't be there, da-da-da-da. The fact is, if they're ranked 133 out of 136 or 333, whatever it is, there's so many fucking teams in this Division I. They beat Purdue, who was ranked third or fourth. So maybe the rankings are fucked up. Maybe they're a top 25 team, but they're not getting credit for it. Maybe they had injuries and now everybody's healthy. Maybe something changed in their scheme and now they went from a 3-4 to a 4-3. Something changed and now they're able to beat Purdue, right? You're a 23-point dog. It was all fucked up. That wasn't right. So now what you have is you have this bullshit. You have a bad spread. Now, I can see Tennessee beating them because of the defense that Tennessee has. And they just beat Duke. So they're in the same boat, man. We just beat Duke. Anytime you beat Duke in a tournament, you're happy, right? They play that tough defense and everything. So the defense will stop Fairleigh Dickinson, not Florida Atlantic. Right? They don't have the defense. Tennessee does. So the defense is going to carry Tennessee on. So the East would be between Tennessee and Marquette, and then I would think you got to go defense, and I think Tennessee defensively after beating Duke, they're going to have an easy time. They got Fairleigh Dickinson. That should be an easy win for them. And then Marquette will have a tough one with Kentucky or Kansas State. And they'll focus so much on that, they won't have anything left for Tennessee and that defense. So we're looking at Alabama and Tennessee to come part of the Final Four. Well, Howard, you just said Fairleigh Dickinson's all hot. Yeah, but so's Tennessee. They beat Duke. So Then it gets down to who's really the better team, and Tennessee shows that tough defense, giving up 55 points a game or whatever. You gotta be kidding me. So that's now it goes into matchup, and matchup defense wins, and that's what you get into. Now, as far as Kentucky, Kansas State, that's coin flip, but Kentucky's not as good. Kentucky's 21-11. They're not the same team except for the name. So Kansas State being the 3 seed, Kansas State is 23-9. They're not much better. But when you get to Marquette, they're 28-6. And Michigan State's 19-12. Well, this is where it's going to show. Michigan State got the win against USC. They had no way getting the win over Marquette. So Marquette beats Michigan State. Then they get Kentucky, Kansas State winner. Whoever it is, it will be a good game. I still think Marquette wins, but then it's Marquette, Tennessee, and then I just think defense wins. So you're looking at Alabama, Tennessee here. On the other side, Houston just crushes Auburn. Then they're going to get Miami, Indiana, who probably not as good as Auburn. Houston, now that they found their offense or their too much defense, Houston goes on to the next. And then we're going to have Texas against the Xavier Pitt winner. And whoever that is can't handle Texas. So it's going to be Texas, Houston. That'll be a hell of a game. I would say defense, so I'm going to put Houston in there. The better defense wins games. That's who we bet on. That's who wins. So probably Houston. So Alabama, Houston, Tennessee, and then the West, probably UCLA. You got Arkansas you got to be careful with. St. Mary's, UConn, Arkansas handle them. They beat Kansas. And then you've got TCU and Gonzaga. So probably Gonzaga, UCLA will be a high-scoring game, but UCLA, too much defense. And then UCLA, Arkansas. And again, I just think UCLA is too tough. So I think you got Houston, UCLA, Alabama, and Tennessee. Basically, pretty much what I said. I said Alabama, I said UCLA over Kansas, and I said Houston, Texas, but I think now Houston's playing better. Now I see Houston coming out of there. So your Final Four, Alabama, Tennessee, Houston against UCLA, which will be a very good Final Four. Look for Tennessee to get to the finals with that defense. Alabama is not a defensive team. They score a lot. They'll get through, they'll handle San Diego State because they're weak. And then what do they got? Princeton, Baylor. Maybe they get Baylor, but Baylor's too weak to handle them. So Alabama with the easy ride through this absolute joke tournament. They get the first 2 games at home at Alabama, Birmingham. How do you do that? How do you have a tournament that's supposed to be neutral and you have a team play at home? I don't really understand it. I don't like it. One thing, the NFL playoffs are home games. I don't really love college football. These games should be home games in the playoffs, and then the finals should be at a neutral site like the Super Bowl. But I don't. Why aren't you rewarding Georgia for, being the number 1 rated team? They should be at home. Michigan should have been at home against TCU. Now, if you expand it, that first round should all be home games. A, you get the audience. B, the northern schools get the advantage when it's cold. So it's a big advantage to the southern and western schools because of the weather. So Alabama basically had a huge advantage because they'd play the game in the Orange Bowl, in the in the South. And Alabama's to the weather. The northern team travels. That's why I bet Miami over Oklahoma with Jimmy Johnson and Snellenberger. 84, I got Miami as a 14-point home dog against Nebraska with that great offense, but I had Miami and Snellenberger. That was a huge lock I had because Miami's at home. They're used to the weather. Nebraska's not used to 90-degree heat in Miami in January or December. Miami is. The Heat got to Nebraska, I'm sure. Miami puts up 34 points. Beautiful offense. Bernie Kosar. The defense holds them down because all they do is really run the ball in Nebraska. And Miami had this great defense, really fast. But again, why was the game in Miami? Why would you give Miami a home field advantage against Nebraska in the national title game? Why isn't the game in Nebraska? Let the game be in Nebraska. I mean, see, that's the problem. So you give Alabama two home games as a joke. I don't know where the games are next week. It doesn't say. But anyway, so that's what I think of the bracket. So again, we'll go through. The game already started. So Xavier and Pitt, I took over 147. Miami and Indiana, I went over 145 in that game. Again, Indiana's laying 1.5, too hard to really figure. St. Mary's and UConn, I went under 126. Both teams, good defenses. Really hard to pick the winner here. TCU Gonzaga 4.5, 153. I took Gonzaga. No real reason. TCU, they lost to Georgia. So, I mean, Gonzaga I like. I think they'll play a good game here. And you're laying 4.5. Baylor Creighton. Baylor's the dog. It's a joke. Plus 1.5. I like Baylor, 5-star. Fairleigh Dickinson, Florida Atlantic. This is probably the game of the day. Take Fairleigh Dickinson in 15.5. Are you fucking kidding me? My other 5-star. I really don't see how, I see them winning the game. I don't see 15.5 against, they're going to be flat because they just beat Purdue. Doesn't work that way. Not here. Now, after they have a chance to think about it, next weekend and they got to play Tennessee, then they're going to lose. But against Florida Atlantic, I got to take 15.5 points against the 9 seed. Really? A 9 seed is 15. So Fairleigh Dickinson's so bad that as a 23-point dog, they beat Purdue, is going to get blown out by Florida Atlantic? No, doesn't work that way. Total ridiculous bet. Kentucky, Kansas State, really hard choice. I laid away from playing the dog, so I'm going to go over 142 in this game. And then Michigan State Marquette, this spread's ridiculous at 2.5. Should be about 7. 2.5. This is my other 5-star. Take Marquette. Lay the 2.5. Just for you, Nick. Take Marquette. Let's keep going. They got to get by Tennessee, though. I don't know if they can do that. Not with this defense. This is a Georgia defense for Tennessee. So that's your for today. There's a lot of so there's a weekend flow, right? And then it resets on when they start Thursday. And that's what you got to be. So right now, Fairleigh Dickinson's on the high. They beat Purdue. It'll be good today. Then you get into next weekend, and all of a sudden it's going to be a little bit tricky. It's going to be a little bit tricky. Now they got to start up again. And they're thinking, everybody's saying, you beat Purdue. And they're just not good enough to handle a Tennessee team. I look for that. I hope they win today and the spread's 3 or 4, and we'll really jump on Tennessee. But that's really how you do it. So in this, I talk back against the wall a lot with football. You don't really have backs. I mean, everybody's backs is against the wall in this because it's all one and done. Unlike an NBA playoff where it's the best of 7. And a team goes down 2-0, their back's against the wall. We can bet them. You don't really have that here. Every game's a must win. So back against the wall doesn't work. You tend to go to matchups. You tend to go to the best player and the best defense. That's what wins for you. So that's really what you're looking for here. That's what you want. So right now it looks like the best defense is Houston and Tennessee, and it wouldn't surprise me if that was your final. Defense can stop offense. Offense can't stop defense. So Alabama's going to have a real hard time against Tennessee. They are praying they don't see them because that's the one team that Alabama can't deal with. Is a good defensive team. So we'll see how it shakes out. Anyway, good luck today. 5-minute game, Fairleigh Dickinson and 15.5. Marquette laying 2.5. The rest are whatever you want to bet on them. Good luck on those. All right, what else? Gold jumped through the roof yesterday. Still on COMEX, but it's almost at 2,000 now. The demand's so strong now. If it wasn't COMEX, it would have been probably 20,000. It'd be about 30,000 right now. All right, so let's see what gold's doing. So we know they're calling it a cartel. We know it's price fixed, whatever you want to call it. Now, there used to be an oil cartel too, or the OPEC nations controlled the price of oil, which they don't anymore. So we go to gold price. There you have it. It's at 2009. And that's a held down gold price. That's not the, again, keep in mind it's derivative. It's not market. This is gold in the Ukraine, $73,000 an ounce in Ukrainian money. Now, Ukrainian money is, let's say, 40 to 1. So it's really 1900. But Jenna could get 73,000 hryvnia with her 1 ounce of gold. But it wouldn't buy her that much. So again, here in U.S., it says 1988 up 66. So nobody likes gold. Nobody's in the gold, really. Okay. So we see that strong. Now, my friend sent me an article, which was disturbing enough, on this whole control issue, central bank digital currency. And what it said was the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements, how they were going to try to control people. So after they make everybody broke, they're going to give you money. I have no idea are you going to work or not. And you're only going to be able to go a mile or two away from home to spend it. And you have 60 days to spend your money and all this crap. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. First of all, the economy doesn't work like that, right? Who's going to be working? Who's going to run the grocery stores? Who's going to run the restaurants? It's not, you need a market, right? So you can't hand out money. How much is it going to be worth? What's the currency? Nothing works like that. So in other words, you have Hitler here going, okay, the guy from the Bank of International Settlements, which is the head central bank for all the countries, right? So they're up here. All the central banks are here. Well, first of all the central banks are buying gold hand over fist, but the U.S. and Canada and England. I'm not sure about the European ones, but I know like Hungary and obviously Russia and Ukraine are all buying gold pretty heavily. So gold's the way out of this mess, but they want to control you and they want to tell you what to do and not to own a car and not and how to eat. And you can go here and you can't go there. You stay in your house or we're going to take your money away from you, all this crap. And I go, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It doesn't work like that. You can't take away a market. Why do you think there's a market in the first place? Why do you think there's dollars in the first place? You have to have dollars. So if you think it's all going to be digital, you're out of their fucking minds. And that it'll be the poor people, because they won't have any money, who will say, oh, good, I'll get money. I can eat, but I can't go anywhere. If I try to use my digital 5 miles away, it won't work, type of bullshit. I'm like, okay, this is really the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's also no chance in hell it's going to be accepted or worked. And it's just a bunch of Nazi propaganda where they're trying to scare you and control you. So I wouldn't worry about it. This was the BIS in England. China already controls their people, so they're already locked away. Russia basically controls you, that you got to be careful what you say and who to say it to. They dictate what you can earn, but they don't dictate where you can go where you want. My friend went and took her daughter to pizza yesterday. She sends me a picture. So they're eating pizza at some kind of restaurant. I mean, okay. I mean, you're not stuck in the house. You got to go to the doctors. So they can announce it, but it's got to be accepted, which it won't be accepted, right? Nobody wants to live like this. Although that's what they're trying to do with schools now, is say, oh, look how good socialism is. The government will take care of you. And, oh, by the way, they're going to control you, which we won't tell you. Nobody wants to be controlled. Nobody's going to fall for this craziness. And that's why we buy more gold and silver. We don't need them. Oh, I'll just take silver and go over here. How are you going to stop? Now, the question's going to be, if they do this, who's going to run a store? You won't have a store to run. You've got to have money in the economy. We'll just have digital dollars. Now, first of all, the only digital dollar now is Bitcoin. That's digital. Your credit card and debit card are electronic. They are not digital. You need the money in your bank to use the debit card. Just the fact you don't carry the $100 to go to Kroger's and buy your groceries doesn't mean you don't have money attached to your credit card and your debit card. Digital, it is not. It's electronic. It means you have to have the money. I don't see a way in the world they're going to get rid of this. It's impossible. That's why you need money, because you have to do the transactions. I want to go eat. I'm going to pay you for it. They need to pay their vendors to buy the food, to cook it for you, to serve it to you, or the grocery stores. So what are you going to do? Your Meijer's, your Sam's Club, Walmart. How are you going to get rid of that? How are they going to run, right? Oh, they're going to run on digital currency too? And how are they going to pay for their goods? And how are you going to do prices? Prices is supply and demand. See, it doesn't work where you can't take supply and demand out of the equation. If they ever did it, it would last about a month, and then there'd be revolts. And the fat guy at the BIS would be killed, because it doesn't work like that. You can't get away from the market. You can't get away from money. That's why there is a market. That's what economics is all about. And that's why there is economics. It's Say's law. We demand this, you make that. Well, if you take that out of the equation, how do you have a market? You don't have a market. You can't control the market any other way but us saying we want this. And this is what we're going to pay for it. So if you take all that away and say, well, you can't go 2 miles away from your house and you're stuck in your house, what the fuck is that? Well, what if I got to go to the gym? It's 10 miles away. I mean, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It'll never, ever work. Nobody will ever go for it. Oh, they're going to try to break all the banks and then come out with this digital currency to save the day. Oh, you need it. Look, you need it. But by the way, we're going to control you. That's such bullshit. First of all, you're not breaking JP Morgan and Wells Fargo and Bank of America and all these banks. Sorry, it ain't happening. And they can't all be this stupid to not understand interest rates are rising. So their investments are in bonds and they're only getting 1%, and now it's at 4%. Well, first of all, they got to come due first. And secondly, you're telling me they weren't smart enough to do 90-day bonds? They did what, 10-year bonds? Every bank did 10-year bonds. Come on. You got to be fucking kidding me. Unless they were ordered by JP Morgan Mafia to do that, there's no way they're all that stupid. I mean, come on. So keep that in mind. It's a no way it will ever work. That's why we have markets. So we can go buy the ribs and buy the steak and buy the chicken and figure out the price, and we go get it. That's it. That's how it works. So anyway, if you hear that, oh, wait, get digital currency, tell them to go fuck themselves. You don't want to be, believe me, you don't want to be controlled. And this is about freedom. It'll never happen in America because JP Morgan will never give up control of the money. And that was my point I made to some of the people on here who said, oh, we'll have a digital currency. I said, never in America, because JP Morgan will not give up the right to print the money and have the money and control it. Do you think the banks want to get out of it? And then what else are you going to have? Tell you what kind of cars to buy and need electric. And what do you think the oil people are going to do? And the car people are, Mercedes is going to go out of business. Toyota, they have gas cars. So, but and then what do you have? The grocery stores going out of business because now it's digital dollars. I mean, this is such bullshit. So all these people have to go out of business. Yeah, I don't think they're going to just take that lying down. I think they're going to get pissed. It's JP Morgan, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they're all mafia run. They're not going to sit there. The other fact that I have that should relax everybody is, first of all, you got idiots in government that couldn't make a plan work. If you spotted on the C and the A, they couldn't spell cat. Terry Bradshaw here. Secondly, what do we know? I mean, we know that there's no way powerful people are powerful because they all want their way. So you got 10 people. They don't want to be one. They want to be 10, right? They want their own ideas and their own, like Elon Musk and Buffett and Gates and all these idiots are all diluted and out of their fucking minds, but they all want to be in charge. So what you're asking here is you have one thing, which how is one person going to run this, right? There's no way. Gates isn't going to give up Microsoft, and Buffett, whatever he does, and then Musk with Tesla. Well, he's not going to sell cars, or he's going to be the only one selling electric cars. Yeah, good luck selling that. What's going to happen to the stock exchange? It's going to go broke. Oh, so all these people, all the mafia who's in charge of all these different areas are just going to walk away and go, oh, well, we want to control everybody. They don't. They want money. Money is power and control. They don't want everybody to be broke and not have money. So that is the biggest thing I see in this whole central bank digital currency bullshit that'll never work. People have to go for it, and it'll never happen. The banks will have to go out of business. It'll never happen. And then you got gold and silver. You'll have black markets. You'll have underground economies. Look at China now. I read another story where China's got all these underground banks. They're all buying gold and silver, and they're in Italy with the Italian mafia. You think that's going to go away? You don't think we'll find a way? I mean, we have gold and silver. Hey, I can go do what I want. Nobody will know I have gold or silver. That's why I don't know how much silver to get. I'm approaching 500 ounces, and I'm like, it should be plenty, but, when the girlfriend comes, needs money, when friends come and need money, what do you do? So you're going to help them. So that's really the issues. You're going to help I'm not going to let my friends down and sorry, it's all mine. That's not me. So I'm buying more for my girlfriend. Like I give my one girlfriend gold and silver when we meet, and the other one I can't meet in Russia. When I meet her, I'll give her gold and silver. And my one she's due to give birth any day now. She's a friend, my best friend, but she's married. So we keep that distance. and she's given birth. So I said, maybe I'll have to come to give you the gold and silver. I don't trust going to Romania, FedEx to Romania. And she said, well, why don't you just come see the baby and you can do it then. So I might do that in April or May. I want to do it when I'm going to go see my Ukrainian girl. I'll kill two birds with one. I'll fly to Romania, then fly to Spain, and I can kill two birds with one stone. We will see. Now, the biggest thing is the monopoly. So the biggest question that the professor gets asked is when's the price going to go up? When's the price going to go up? So this is the Moscow exchange, and I'm trying to keep my eye open on it. And I'm like, when is this going to happen? And I keep looking at it. But it's a derivative market, and I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the physical market. And I don't know, but that's what I'm looking for. It's called the Moscow Exchange. I think there was another. So that's going to compete with the price on London, right? Yeah, there was a good one. But anyway, so everybody admits that it's a monopoly. What gold is on a monopoly with London, right? Which is JP Morgan and London. That's why the price at 10 o'clock shifts down. They're resetting the price based on these derivatives. And so it's a scam and it's a monopoly. And so what we need for gold to go up and silver to go up is competition, which is what the Russians are trying to do with the Chinese, is create competition for gold and silver. So because it's a monopoly, they can make it, 1,900 an ounce. How it even goes up, I have no idea, because I don't know who the hell is buying it. Nobody's buying the derivatives. So basically, what we need is competition. This is Austrian economics, pure and simple. If anybody asks you about it, it's about competition. It's about substitute goods. JP Morgan wants us in that, but there's competition with gold and silver. But by keeping the price low, nobody understands gold and silver is the competition to this. There's no other currency you can go to that's going to do any better. The yen, the Swiss franc, the British pound, the euro is not. They're all the same bullshit. How that happened is unbelievable. Also, that all the fucking currencies would be printed to hell. That's hard enough to believe, that they're all this stupid, or whoever's in charge, they would listen to and say, oh yeah, I'm going to print my money to zero. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So the Austrian economics, competition, gold and silver. Substitute gold and silver. But monopolies, you need competition. So in oil, there was OPEC, and then finally other countries came in, said we can sell oil, and now the oil is not price fixed by OPEC, it's more open. And that's what we're going to do with gold. See, so right now everybody asks, well, why is gold so low and when's it going to go up? And everybody says, oh, it's perfect time to go up. Well, all these idiots, the Peter Schiffs, the Rickards, the Andy whatevers, they don't understand anything about Austrian economics, even though they say they do, because if they did, they'd realize that it's paper monopoly keeping the price down, and therefore you can never have the price go up until you get rid of the monopoly. You must have competition, and that's what Russia and China is doing. So they're going to compete. So when my guy says outside the ring fence, that's the ring fence is London, and outside of it is the Russian group going, yeah, here we are. We're gonna make it physical. And that's what we need, or we need to break the monopoly. Until the monopoly is broken, the price will never go to 50,000. But we understand that. So when I say it, I'm assuming the monopoly is soon going to be broken. Now, partly because there won't be any demand for the dollar. Right? So there'll be no demand for the dollar. Now what are we going to do? So the monopoly works as long as there's demand for the dollar. And then nobody's interested in gold and silver because the price is low. It doesn't go anything because they think it's a fucking stock. It's not a stock. It's money. And money normally doesn't go up in value, but money's more secure. So if they're trying to pull the central bank bullshit, Nazism, what if they're trying to do that? They can say, well, we're getting rid of money. We're going to go to central bank digital currency, which what the fuck is that? It isn't anything. It's just, you're going to have on your phone, it'll be an account, professor, you got 10,000 whatevers. Is there going to be one currency in the world? Really? That gets back to so you think the mafia in Russia, China, Italy, Spain, Japan, and the U.S. are all going to agree on something? All the different mafia houses? I don't think so. So the mafia in Russia is certainly not going to. Do you think Putin's going to get along with China and get along with the U.S.? There's no fucking way. That's the point. You have all these different mafia heads. They are not going to listen to each other. There's no way you're going to have the one, Bank of International Settlement Mafia dictate we're only going to have one unit and this is it. And we're not going to have gold and silver. Well, why are they all buying gold up? Every central bank in the world. Why did China got 40,000 tons of gold? Well, you think it was just for the hell of it? Well, we know it's not going to be worth anything. We're just going to buy it because it's a pretty color. No, they know that's the escape. So they're not going to listen to that bullshit. It's no way. So that's what will happen. You gotta understand that. So once we break the monopoly, once this loses value, there's not going to be a central bank. Oh, we'll pay you in central bank. No. I want money. What's the new money? And I know in 2024, the yen and the euro are coming out with new bills, as is the U.S. Well, wait a minute. Why are you coming out with new bills if there's digital? And the digital ain't ready till 2030, if it's ready at all. I mean, it's not close to being ready. And this control bullshit, it will never happen. Nobody's going to just sit there and be controlled. If they're controlled, they'll just be an uprising and they'll just kill this BIS guy and that'll be the end of that. You can't fuck with people's lives and freedoms. It's never going to happen. So with that said, there's a good thing I want to show you on cryptocurrency. So here was the other news I was talking about. Russia proposes to create new precious metals exchange. Moscow is proposing the creation. Now, this is back in June or July. Its own international standard, precious metals, dubbed the Moscow World Standard, would compete with the London Bullion Market Association. Would compete with, which is one of the world's current leading gold, silver, platinum exchanges. Moscow claims, I'll just read it to you. Moscow claims that the London market manipulates the precious metals market and artificially keeps prices low. Moscow believes that is an unfair practice that negatively affects precious metal exporters. The Russian finance ministry believes this exchange is important for normalizing the functioning of the precious metals sector. The news around the time decided to ban the buying and selling of Russian-sourced metals. According to the Russian finance minister, the basis of this new structure will be specialized international precious metals brokered headquarters in Moscow, which will rely on the MWS, will resemble a committee. This committee will include central banks. The committee would fix precious metals prices to national currencies from member countries or to a new monetary unit for international trade, such as the newly proposed BRICS currency. So the BRICS currency will be backed by gold, which will be on this new thing by BRICS. Now they're going to set the price, which still bothers me to a point because you really want it at market. Why won't they let gold go to the market? This is the only product that doesn't go to market. So I still think it'll go way high because that's what they want. Anyway, this is on bullionexchanges.com if you want to read the article, but it's a good one. So really, when it becomes for economics, what you're looking at is the normal stuff. It's supply demand.
My name is Jim Rickards. I'm a former
Shut the fuck up. You're a loser, a Keynesian. Shut up.
I don't see that we've got.
So everything comes. So when they say it bothers me when they say Austrian economics has been proven wrong. How have you proven it wrong? By whom? And where do you show it doesn't work? Oh, the 2008 housing crisis. How the fuck was that Austrian economics? Austrian economics says the market dictates, not that they should give banned loans. So when I read that, I really get insulted. But basically, it's freedom of the individual, supply and demand. If you want something, you set the market, and if it's too high, you don't buy it, like a Camry, and if it's too low, you buy it. And that's really it in a nutshell. You have good laws, good money, solid money backed by gold, and a military to defend, and good business, and keep the government out. I mean, it's a very simple, that's why it's hard to teach you more. There really isn't much more, than there's inflation. If you print too much money, you lose the value of it. Well, that's what's happening now. You can't print to death. You can't have government spending is going to bail you out. So what Alistair says, I was watching yesterday, is he goes and he says, the Keynesians think it's either going to be inflation or deflation. Either the market goes up or down. And what he's saying is that it's not the way it works. You're going to have hyperinflation and the market's dead. That's where we're headed to. We're headed to Germany. We're headed where you need the wheelbarrow for money. This is why I'm screaming to get your gold and silver. You won't need a wheelbarrow. You'll need one coin to, buy a car, not a wheelbarrow to buy butter. And this is the big flaw in the Keynesians. They think we'll just keep printing money. It won't lose value. They don't understand the fucking hoops content. They don't understand top. They don't get these are valueless because they printed too much. They totally missed the point. I don't think I have I got a limited ones on the ground. But it can't connect to them that if you print too much, you don't have any value, because they don't see inflation as the valuation of the money and ruining the money supply. Their idea of inflation is prices. Well, when you don't understand what the fuck you're talking about, you miss the whole point to start with. So I want to go to Alistair McLean.
An end to rising interest rates. I don't see we've got an end to rising bond yields, and that being the...
I'm going to do this on another video because I want it to be based on Alistair McLeod. Basically, he thinks crypto is going away. And he thinks, obviously, as I'm talking, how the Keynesians don't get it. So I had in my master's, first we learned Austrian economics. Then in the next class, we kind of learned about Keynesian economics to disprove that it works. And I kept bitching at the teacher going, I don't care about Keynesian. I don't want to know. I know it doesn't work. I don't really need to know the reasons it doesn't work. I just assume it doesn't work. And I get like that. Once I know something's no good, I don't really need it. It's a waste of my time to learn why Keynesian doesn't work. Teach me more about Austrian. But as you can see, it's pretty basic. You want to learn Austrian economics, go pick up a book or the video by Adam Smith, and he will teach you. It's about individual, right? The reason that the Keynesians or the monetarists or whatever the fuck they call it doesn't work because they're trying to do formulas. And you can't do formulas because you got to understand people. And, I'm wearing a blue sweat. This is brand new. I'm wearing the blue sweatshirt or a black one, or I got a Bellagio mug. And you can't read my mind. So you don't know what I'm going to want, right? So if I decide I want Canadian Club, then you go make it. But this is what I want now. And then later I might get on a diet and say I can't have sugar, and I want water, and I want steaks and vegetables. So I change. So if you're modeling me, you're modeling me on eating Oreos and eating tuna and eating Lucky Charms and eating all the bullshit I used to eat. It's all changed now. So you can't model the changes. You're still modeling me for 10 years of what I used to do, but now I've totally changed. Just like Peyton Manning going to Denver, Brady going to Tampa. You can't. So that's why you can't model it unless you can make the changes, which they don't. That's why models don't work. Statistically, you can say whatever you want. And what do you hear if you listen to these idiots on YouTube? What do they say? Well, this is what it was in 2008. So therefore, this is what it's going to. Well, it's a whole different thing. That was because that was all real estate. Goldman Sachs went under because of real estate. They had all these real estates that they're giving you 10%, but then as people stopped paying the mortgage, they couldn't sell any. They were caught with all these. They weren't getting the money in, so they couldn't give it out. It's funny how it's all made off. If I get money in, I can pay it out. I get money in, I can pay it out. I get money in, I can pay it out. And well, that's what a grocery store does, right? I get the groceries in, and then people buy them. That's how I get my money in. And then I go buy more groceries, or a restaurant, I buy all the steaks, and then I sell them. Well, if I can't sell them, I have to go out of business. If prices go up, can I meet my market? Can my rib guy, everything I say always comes back, but it's always kind of like I teach it to you at the bottom. So the steak, my rib guy buys the ribs, and now he's got to sell them. So what I'm saying is, if you start selling them at $40, the market won't buy them. You won't be able to sell your ribs. You'll have to go out of business. That's why you got to keep your ribs at $25 a slab, because you'll be buying them. You'll be trying to sell them for 40. The market's 25. You won't be able to sell them. So your money's out, but you can't get your money in. You won't get the customers to buy it. You'll go out of business. That's the simple thing. That's why when I left my job and I told the guy, you'll be out of business in 6 months, because he's going to buy all this shit, and then nobody's going to want it. And you still have your fixed cost and stuff like that. So you won't stay in business. Now, I clearly understand that. But me and you guys are the only ones in the world who understand that. They don't teach that anymore. They teach Keynesians, which is not anything about the free market or markets or any of this shit is not taught. You can see why. All these banks going under, Goldman Sachs, let's just look at Goldman Sachs, which is margin movie, the margin call, which is they bought all these mortgages so they could give out 10%, and then people were buying them to get a better return, so they were making money. But as people stopped paying the mortgage, they weren't getting money in to pay the people out. That's why they collapsed. That's why they just did a fire sale to get rid of all them, and then they couldn't pay the customers off, so they didn't get money in to pay because people weren't paying their mortgages anymore. They're all defaulting. Oh, had they understood Clinton said, we'll back you up if you fuck up with your mortgages, and understood that they were variable mortgages, that they were going to go up. If they would have understand that part of the game, they never would have done this shit. They would have realized it's not a good thing to do because people will default, because people with bad credit are buying these houses. And then as the interest rates go up, which they always do in a variable rate mortgage, they're going to default and go out. It's too risky. Let's sell something else. And it's just like Madoff. If you're in Madoff, we're making the money, but shut up and don't ask how. And then when he finally couldn't get money in, he couldn't pay it out. And everybody's crying, oh yeah, but you weren't crying when you were making the money. So it's the same thing. If you got to read the picture, right? And so there's two different animals, right? They're selling mortgages. The Goldman Sachs are buying the mortgages so they can give a higher rate of return to compete with the other banks that are giving 3 and 4%. They're able to give 8%. How are you doing it? We're selling you mortgages. And I knew about real estate investment trusts. I learned about that in my master's in the mid 90s. And I said, yeah, that's a good return. The 8-9% beat the 3%. But the fact nobody was realizing is it's in US dollars. It's in dollars that's being inflated. You're better off with gold and silver. Now, the fact that JP Morgan's been holding the monopoly in London so long, that really needs to be broken up. A monopoly in gold, but it's a screwy monopoly. You would think the monopoly would be high prices, not low prices. So it's really an insane monopoly. Well, we'll keep gold at 1,800 when it's 25,000. Why would you do that? Well, we don't want anybody. We want everybody in the dollar. Well, okay, but now that the dollar's gone, now here comes gold. Should now break the monopoly, and that's what we're betting on. But we can't lose because the dollar itself's going to zero because you got Keynesians in charge who keep printing the money. So as long as they keep printing the money, we know it's going to zero. We know gold. Now it should go up if we can get away from the monopoly. So what are they going to hold the monopoly to? Once this goes away, does the monopoly go away? Because you're not going to be able to hold it to 1,800 or 1,900 because there won't be dollars to hold it to. So once that goes away, is the monopoly still going to be there? I don't know, but you can't. The only substitute and the only competition for this is gold and silver, not any other currency, and especially not digital currency, especially if you don't back the digital currency by gold. But if you start putting time limits on it, you're out of your fucking mind. Anybody that would do it, because the whole point of this is you save it, right? Well, I make 50 grand, I spend 40 grand, gives 10 grand to save. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going on a vacation. I'm going to buy a car. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to buy gold and silver. I'm going to buy clothes, the kids to college. You need this money. So how are the kids going to college with digital currency? Oh, yeah. It really sounds like it's such a flawed plan. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so that's really the key, is breaking the monopoly. So now you understand the problem is the monopoly by the mafia, JP Morgan mafia, who is in bed with London. And for whatever reason, well, it's JP Morgan keeping the price down. So you stay in dollars because they are the monopoly of printing the dollars. So they don't want to lose that. That's another reason you'll never get digital currency here. JP Morgan won't allow it. They want to keep printing. So that's your biggest thing. So they have to keep currency. You need something, even though you don't keep $1,000 in your wallet. In effect, you do. When you have $1,000 in your checking and now you have it on your debit card, you have $1,000. The rest you've invested in stocks or gold or a car or a house. You have $1,000 on your debit card. That's $1,000. That's what you have. You are free to go take that debit card and spend that $1,000 instead of carrying the 1,000 with you. It's on the debit card. It's the same fucking thing, but it's dollars. It's not digital currency. It's real currency, just done electronically instead of making up a bit like a Bitcoin. What is it? What is a Bitcoin? Tell me what it is, because nobody can, because it isn't anything. It's something made up. It's not money. It's not a collectible. It's not going to go up in value. How it goes up in value, it's all Russian mafia. So it's all bullshit. You can't tell me how it's priced, and you can't tell me that it's going to go up or down with any reason. I can tell you gold's going up because it's priced in dollars when it should be priced in gold. I can tell you I can buy gold. I can buy a house with gold or a car with gold, but you can't do it with Bitcoin because it's not money. And to me, let's compare it to a baseball card. Bitcoin's a baseball card, but am I going to walk into a card? Well, I might. I have a PSA 10 Mantle, 1962 or 61, a PSA 10, and I can show them on eBay. It's worth this. Maybe I can walk in with the Mantle PSA 10, but I can't walk in with a Bitcoin because I don't have it. And if he doesn't have it, he can't take it. So be careful with your crypto. So really, your only alternative is to get out of money is into gold and silver. Now you're going, well, it doesn't go anywhere. It's not a stock. It's money. It's real money that if the shit hits the fan, you'll be able to use to eat and survive and buy a house with and everything else, because everybody will accept it, right? It's the only legal money that there is. Not this is not money. This is paper. So it's, everybody will accept it. Okay. So you got to realize that. And you realize if I do need paper, I can sell my gold or silver back to the coin store, which the guy will take with open arms and do that. So that's my point, which I will keep hammering home because it's a very important point. But that's kind of where we're looking at it. So that's what you do with your money. You're gonna save the extra, and then it's an investment. But you want to this is going to zero because the people in charge don't realize if I keep printing it goes to zero, right? So they don't get it. So therefore, what are they going to do with it? So you've heard my economics over. It's very important. We do have the Moscow exchange coming. That's probably why the U.S. wants to go to war, because the last time countries tried to come out with a gold standard, they went to war. Now Zimbabwe has a gold ounce, and they're trying to make smaller ones, and that looks like it's succeeding. They're all sold out. Now they're trying to sell dimes, quarters, and halves because it's expensive in Zimbabwe to come up with $1,800 for an ounce. But $230 for a tenth of an ounce or $500 for a quarter, you can do. And they're having hyperinflation. So what's going to happen here, it's not inflation, deflation. It's going to be inflation to hyperinflation. They keep printing it. They keep bailing out the banks, is printing more money in the system. And it's going to end. The money will be worthless, not deflation. Deflation is the prices go lower. That's a good thing, right? Oh, good. I can buy Coke for 20 cents. Oh, beautiful, frozen. Okay. It doesn't affect this value. This is based on how much you print. Deflation is good because if I have this dollar, now it's worth more. That's what you want, right? You want a car to be 5,000. How is that bad? Well, it's bad for the economy. How? See, so the Keynesians keep looking at the economy, and we're looking at the money supply. Stop printing it. Stop the inflation. And inflation is not prices. So you're battling with people that don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't know what it is, and they think it's prices. And this is the big problem with these guys. They don't even understand what they're talking about. That's why I get so frustrated with the communists in the pool, with these, Peter Schiffs and all these other idiots. First of all, they don't understand what it is. Secondly, they don't understand. They'll say they do. The guy will give you it's the devaluation of the money, but they don't understand it. Then they go to prices and they go to this demand pull, cost push. It doesn't. It's not what inflation is. It's sort of a type of inflation, but the inflation is the increase in the money supply. Now, we don't care. So this is saying, well, we're printing it, but the prices aren't going up fast enough. or the prices are going up too fast. It doesn't matter. It's still the inflation's being inflated. So when they say this demand pull, who cares? It doesn't matter. You're not getting, what does that matter? So if the prices are, if you're printing more money than the prices are going up, what does that matter? You're printing more money. Okay, the prices haven't gone up yet. Who gives a fuck? And it's got nothing to do with chips. Oh, the chips didn't come from China, and therefore there's a shortage, and the prices are up. That's not inflation. Anytime they talk about prices going up or down is not inflation, or a supply shortage is not inflation. Sorry, that's the market, right? Oh, supply's down, the price goes up because of the supply, and it all goes to the market. What does the market say? That's the beauty of Austrian economics, all about us. It's us, the freedom. We don't want a $30 steak. Okay, I saw some grass-fed meat at Meijer's the other day, and it was $12 a pound. And I'm weighing it. Do I want grass-fed meat? I can make a hamburger. I can make 2 hamburgers with maybe 3 with a pound of grass-fed, or just buy the regular, and I can buy that for $5. So I can buy 2 pounds for the 1 pound. Okay, it's grass-fed versus however the hell the cows eat. Does that really matter? So that's kind of a big thing there, what it is. But that's kind of my point. Bobby Bo, Nick, I hope you guys are okay. Surprised you haven't been on. I don't see comments. So if you're trying to write comments, I'm surprised I haven't seen any comments. But I think it's working. It says, welcome to the chat. It's live chat. So we'll see what happens, but I hope everybody's okay and the family. And it's just with comments, I can start responding to questions and comments. Anyway, I'll go off on my own. It's fine. Yeah, I'm good with tangents. Anyway, so that's really what's happening is you have people in charge that don't know what they're doing. This is why I'm like, there'll never be digital currency. These people don't know what they're doing. How are they gonna do digital currencies? And it's not even ready till 2030. So these bank failures don't make any sense. Okay, the bank fails. Now what are you gonna do? So we're supposed to then go into the JP Morgans and the Bank of Americas and the Wells Fargo. So we're supposed to move from the little banks to the big banks. Then what? Those are going to collect. You think JP Morgan's going to fucking collapse his bank? Are you out of your minds? That'll never happen. So it might be safe in JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Your money's probably safe. In the littler banks, well, they're all going to be bailouts. So one thing that Alistair said is, well, they're not going to be bail-ins. They're all going to be bailouts. So as I told you, if you had 100,000 in the bank, they're going to steal it. Well, it looks like they're not going to. It looks like the 100 grand is safe in the bank from the standpoint they're not going to take your money, but then you're going to need the FDIC insurance, which I wouldn't count on, to pay you back the 100 grand. So the moral of the story is I wouldn't leave much more than 10 grand in the bank. If you have 100 or 200, I would take it out. Even if you put it in the safe, there's no security in the bank. Like if you think, well, it won't get stolen, it's in the bank. Yeah, I wouldn't count on that. And then if you want, buy a Rolex with it, buy the gold and silver, which is what I recommend, and put it in a safe. And if you want to put it in a U-Haul storage bin and lock it up and something safe, or go to Switzerland and put it in their vaults, then you probably be safe that way. If you're worried about that, I'm not really that worried about it. You can be clever, put it in your fridge or your freezer in a Cool Whip container. Nobody's ever going to go there. Somebody robbing your house is not going to, well, let me see. Let me check your fridge. It's probably with the broccoli and cauliflower. Yeah, I don't think so. They'll looking for a safe, and that's, what they'll do. I had some guy knock on my door just before I started, and he's asking, what do you want? He says, I'm looking for Joe Smith. And I go, I'm not Joe Smith. Like, why are you just knocking on my door? You should be, why don't you call Joe Smith? He must have a phone number. And I just said, I don't know who you're talking about, but it's not me. So go fuck off. And I didn't like that. He's banging and he's ringing the bell and banging on the door. Like, I don't know. I don't know who he was or what he was, but it's like, I'm not opening this door for anybody. God himself could come down here, and I'm not opening the door. I don't open the door unless I've invited you, unless it's like maintenance coming to fix my stove or something. I'm not opening the door. You don't have to. It's private property. Even if the police come, say, I'm not, this is private property. I'm not opening the door. You don't have to open the door for the police. Even if you have nothing to hide, I don't want them in the house. Oh, they planted drugs on me. Oh, yeah, great. So you don't even want to do that. So keep that in mind. Anyway, so that's really it. We'll go through baskets one more time. Let's go. We got Alabama, San Diego State going to the next round. We got Princeton playing the winner of the Baylor Creighton game. I like 5-star. I took Baylor plus the 1.5. We've got Fairleigh Dickinson, Florida Atlantic. I took Fairleigh Dickinson plus 15.5, 5 stars. There's no way you don't beat Purdue and then you're going to get killed by Florida Atlantic. No way. So I like Fairleigh Dickinson in the 15.5. Tennessee will play the winner of that game. Then you got Kentucky, Kansas State. I ended up going over. I couldn't pick a winner there. Normally I would tease the dog. It's 2.5, so I'm going to just go over. And then Michigan State, Marquette, my other 5-star. I like Marquette minus 2.5. They should win by 10 at least. Then you got Houston and Auburn in the Midwest. And then we got Miami, Indiana to see who is going to play Houston. And I took the over 145. Again, Indy's minus 1.5. I can't tell who's going to win, so off we go. Pitt Xavier's on now. I went over 147. I don't know what the score is. Texas, Penn State. We've got Texas winning. So we've got Houston and Texas in there, and I think they'll move on next week. It'll be Houston against Texas for the finals. Kansas, Arkansas. Arkansas gets the W. They're going to play the winner of St. Mary's, Connecticut. I took the under in the game, 126. I think St. Mary's wins the game. I might have taken St. Mary's too. I think St. Mary's wins the game with the points. I don't know about the other. And then we got UCLA playing the winner of TCU and Gonzaga. I took Gonzaga laying the 4.5 just because they're an explosive team. They're used to the tournament. TCU, I mean, if they have football teams out there, I would take them. But I just think Gonzaga, who's been there enough, gets the win and then plays UCLA. Then I see UCLA, Arkansas, and I see UCLA, Houston, Alabama, and Tennessee in your Final Four. Maybe Marquette for Nick. We hope that is. So, again, Nick, I hope you're okay. I know you're fasting, so I hope that's going okay. Bobby, where the hell are you? You owe me a bunch of silver now. You're missing classes. Otherwise, no comments. Okay. So I'm going to come back in and post a few things from Alistair McLean. I want to keep that separate because I don't know who's going to find it after an hour 40. So I don't want to show the video and then nobody sees it. So I kind of want to start with the video. But today I had to start with basketball because of that. Football, you got to be out of your mind to spend $50 million on Lamar Jackson. He's not worth it. I think the money on Deshaun Watson was stupid. I don't think anybody's worth that money, and it screws up your salary cap. I would say the only guy really worth it is Mahomes. Mahomes and Burrow. That's all I would pay what Mahomes is getting. And that's it. Mahomes wins Super Bowl. Burrow gets you the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers. Brady until he retired. Justin Herbert. Bad coaching there. Too many weapons. They should win. They should win 13 games every year. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Terrible coaching. Denver, look for them to be very good this year with Sean Payton will be a huge addition. As we know, the coach is everything. You get a bad coach like the Lions, they always suck. You get a good coach, a Bill Walsh, Lombardi, Parcells, Jimmy Johnson, you win. Well, it's a coincidence that these guys always won. And the bad coach is always the bad coach doesn't win a Super Bowl. Well, the Coach Collar is the exception. He won one with Pittsburgh. He couldn't figure out a quarterback. See, that's where I go that they don't have an eye for quarterback. If you would just look, like now, just draft Jake Hayner. What the fuck? Draft Hooker. Draft Bennett. I mean, it's not that hard. There's quarterbacks are out there. Trade for Zappy. It's not that hard to see a good quarterback and get him. Or get the guy on Tampa, Trask, Kyle Trask. Pick him up. It's not that hard. So this is what people are missing. And then they'll go after the Alabama or the Ohio State one. I love that. And then the radio guy, well, you can't say none of the Ohio State quarterbacks are any good. Well, yes, we can because they're not. Let's go back 10 years with this whole system, the Urban Meyer system, and going on. And even when he was at Utah, so let's look at an Urban Meyer system in pro quarterbacks. He had Alex Smith, sucked. He had Tim Tebow, sucked. And then he had JT Barrett, sucked. Field sucked. They're still running the Urban Meyer offense, which doesn't do shit in the pros for quarterbacks. Even the running backs, Ezekiel Elliott doesn't really do much now. Not what he should. And then the guy on Bolivar, he doesn't do anything. It's a scheme, and people got to realize it's a scheme. It's like Oklahoma running the wishbone. So you're going to draft a running back, Billy Sims. He was okay in the pros for a little bit. But look at Barry Sanders. He ran out of the eye at Oklahoma State. That wasn't a system. But the wishbone, you're taking advantage. They're not running the wishbone in the pros. It doesn't help you. And that's the problem with all these systems here. It doesn't help you. So the Ohio State system doesn't work in the pros. It's not that hard to figure out. It doesn't work. Move on. Forget about it. So that's what you have. All right. So I think we've covered the gold. So the gold is already through the roof somehow, even though it's held in monopoly. It's not supply and demand. So we need Russia to compete with the monopoly of JP Morgan. And once the dollar collapses, then the monopoly ends because A, it's in US dollars, which is going to be crashed, and B, the US dollar won't be the monopoly anymore. So therefore, if this isn't the global currency, then who cares if you have a printing press for dollars that's not going to have a value. So I think gold's about ready to really go. It's already 2,000 an ounce now. It should be 20,000 now. So people that think 21 or 22 is a good price, they're out of their fucking minds. They're not even close to reality. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So bet your baskets. Talk a little football. What else? I don't know. We're gonna talk about Alistair McLean. So I'm gonna end this. Come back right now with a little bit more economics and a little bit more of Alistair McLean, where I want it, and then I'm just gonna focus like 20 minutes of that and give you that economic feedback. But again, the key to economics is competition and substitute goods. Something's more too pricey, I can buy it cheaper. You're not going to have that with digital dollars. The whole thing sounds just, a control issue, but it doesn't even make sense because you can't control it. So I can grocery shop a mile from my house and then go drive to my girlfriend's an hour away, and then she can buy whatever. Or it's like, so I'm not going to be able to go out to dinner because you're not going to give me money. Yeah, that'll last a long time. These guys are so fucking stupid. Anyway, good luck today. www.teaserking.com. You get my email. Please let me know if you're trying to chat and you can't, because I haven't seen a chat, which is very unusual. Are you having trouble chatting? Are the algorithms keeping you away? Please let me know. I'm gonna ask Nick if he's trying to chat and it's not showing up. I know sometimes Bobby and Nick would put something down in chat and it wouldn't go through. The algorithm wouldn't allow it based on certain words. But that's the whole point of doing these live. I don't need to do it live. I can do a video, but I don't mind doing them live, getting the feedback. So let me know. All right, www.teaserking.com. Have a great day. Good luck on the games. Good luck in the gold. Get your money out of dollars. Get your money out of the bank. The banks are collapsing because of the interest rates. And it doesn't look like they're going to stop the interest rate increases. It looks like they're going to keep going. How much longer, we don't know, but they're killing the banks and they're not saving the dollars. So it's really stupid what's happening. All right, everybody, take care. www.teaserking.com. Thank you.